Oh, please, please don't hurt me any more than you already have. I'm scared. Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. And I just bought a new TBR jar, like a proper TBR jar, not the little red cup that I've had in multiple videos. And I just really want to change the way I do my monthly TBRs by using bookish prompts. But because I've already pulled my monthly TBR, I thought, what fun way to use this for the very first time, then have the book prompts choose what I read for the next week or so. So I'm going to choose two book prompts from here, and those will choose the next two books I read. I love choosing I love picking from book prompts at the moment because it's just such a fun way to work through my TBR and pick up books that I've been kind of wanting to reach for but haven't had time, or I've had other books kind of take its place. So I don't have that many book prompts in here right now. I am slowly but steadily filling this up. So if you have any book prompt ideas, please put them in the comments and I will definitely add them to the jar. But our first book prompt pick is a book I know little to nothing about. That could fit a lot of books, to be quite honest. Souls in Ruin by Jacqueline White. This is going to be the first book picked by the book prompt. This is a dark romantasy, and that's literally all I know about it. I've heard really, really good things. This blew up when it was first published. She is still indie published, I believe, or she might have been picked up traditionally. I don't actually know. But I've been wanting to pick this up for the longest of time. I just wanted to get through my Melissa K. Roick reread and finishing the Legacy series before I dived into more dark romantasy. But I have been craving a dark romantasy. So we're gonna read Souls in Ruin, and I'm really, really excited. This is book one in the Soulbound series. I'm not gonna read the prologue. The back just says, between the blood that binds her and the dark that craves her, one soul must fall to ruin. I just did a huge indie book haul for Double Points weekend, especially since my book buying ban is officially over. I feel like I've kind of run out of indie books to read because I have a lot of indie books on my shelves. A lot of them have been picked up traditionally, but they didn't start that way. And I love reading indie books. I love discovering new authors that aren't getting the recognition that they deserve, or kind of the the hype that they deserve. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to put this book prompt back because I feel like that can be picked more than once. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this. This is going to be so good. So the first book, Souls in Ruin. I will give you an update when I am somewhat through this. I'm so excited. I'm 75 pages in and I'm gonna be broken or in a half state until book two is in my hands, because I can already tell 75 pages in that I found a new god tier book. The way I was grasped by this character from page one is insane. I love her. I love the way she thinks. I love how she is just so confident in herself. I'm just obsessed. 5-star already. I know it's a 5-star. This is a very dark romantasy. I would read trigger warnings before doing this because yeah, I love this FMC. I think she might become one of my favorites. I think this is a book I'm going to have to reread again, just for the sheer sake of annotating, because there is this FMC, just every chapter she just surprises me more and more, just with her strength and what she's been able to do with the little power that she has in her life, and yet still find compassion for others. This book is gonna ruin me. That was hard to read. I don't cry often in books. But that wrecked me. I'm 511 pages in. I'm not going to sleep. I'm scared to look at the time. Okay, it's not bad. It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm not sleeping. That's simply just not going to happen. I don't care what time it takes me to finish this book, but I'm finishing this book tonight because I can't look away. I won't be able to find sleep. It's just, there's no point. So I might as well finish this. I could have told you 10% in this was a 5-star. This isn't even a 5-star. This is a 6-star. This is a god tier book. I'm floored by every piece of this book. The journey that we're going through with the FMC is heart-wrenching. It's absolutely soul-destroying. And the title is fitting because not only is the soul of the FMC in absolute ruins, my soul is in absolute ruins. I don't think I've cried this much for a book in a very long time. I can actually think of the last book that had me absolutely sobbing. Check trigger warnings before reading this book. You have to. This book is a dark fantasy romance, and I would say, I definitely can say this is darker than the Legacy series. This isn't your typical dark fantasy romance. The romance is not the forefront of the plot, I would say. I think the forefront of this plot is the FMC herself and her journey, which is a delicate way to put it because it's hard to describe, but her journey to discovery and then all the threads that are being weaved within it. It's so subtle and it's so expertly crafted. It's different to what I typically read in dark fantasy romances. There have been books that have been this dark that I've absolutely hated. For some reason within this, I can't find myself to look away from. I feel everything as keenly, to an extent. I feel everything that the FMC emotionally feels viscerally. I feel like I'm right there along with her, holding her hand, being her silent supporter, and yeah, just being there for her. I don't know how else to describe it, but this is different. That's how I can describe it. This is different to what is in a typical dark fantasy romance, and I'm eating it up. It's hard. It's definitely hard, and it's painful. This is going to be one of my top 5 reads of 2026 without a doubt. Knowing what books will be out towards this year, I just, without a doubt, this is going to be a top 5 book of 2026. I don't know how I'm going to move on from this book. I'm terrified this might actually put me in the worst book slump I've ever been in. I don't know how I'm going to combat that. I don't know how I'm going to move past this. I don't know how I'm going to not be able to pick up any other book and not think about this one. Also, the author has a really good way of keeping you guessing and keeping you on your toes. If it just is like insane. It's like I'm getting whiplash from thinking I know the direction of the book and then completely going 180 and just, yeah, whiplash, roller coaster, just insane. I'm 615 pages in and I'm really, really scared. Like, really, really scared to continue. Please, please, please don't hurt me any more than you already have. I'm scared. I knew it. Well, yeah, no. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying not to read ahead, but I'm so I don't know what I meant. Oh god. I think he's doing it for a reason. Or not? I don't know. Oh god. There was this underlying plot that we were introduced to like 70% the way through, tied to the FMC obviously, but I was like, okay, this is something that's going to be so crucially important that he just said, and I think it's going to change everything. And 620 pages in, it's changing everything, but I just don't understand like the accumulation of everything and what it means for the larger plot. What can I say that has not already been said? This book changed me. How am I supposed to pick up any other book after finishing this? This wrecked me. I can't function. I don't know what to do with myself. Okay, so the first book of this reading vlog is a god tier series. Is a god tier book. I am blown away. I knew it was going to be good. I'd heard it was absolutely insane, but to witness it for myself and to just feel so viscerally connected to the FMC and feel like I'm right there alongside her, holding her hand, I wasn't expecting that. There was something about this that just kept me turning the page, and there was just so much emotion packed within the words that you can't help but connect to it. Do you know what's heart-wrenching about reading indie books is when they get republished, the releases for the next books get pushed back. I don't know how to feel about that. Now, I do want to say one quick thing is there is a tiny pothole in this that I feel could be easily rectified and easily explained as long as the explanation is put in there, and it's towards the ending. I don't want to ruin it, but okay, major spoiler. Do not continue if not read Souls and Ruin, because it will ruin the whole entire book for you. Skip to this time right now because I'm going to wreck the entire book. Alright. The plot hole that I'm speaking of is when she escapes the prison of Varuk, she was in his cell that had kept him imprisoned for decades until he escaped. First of all, how did he escape? If it's supposed to be inescapable to specifically hold a god of their caliber, how did he escape? Second of all, when he's re-put in his prison by the FMC and she releases and frees Death, I'm not going to say more than that, her harbinger, how is it that Varuk, for what he said, will escape within hours of them escaping from his prison that she re-imprisoned him of, when he could not do the same? And I think it has to do with the chains he is, and I think because he was so much more powerful, he was in a lot more chains and that had a lot more runes in it. I think that's the reason why Varuk is able to escape within hours of them escaping, and that's what he predicted was going to happen. But I just need it explained. I just think it would be good to kind of have some sort of explanation in there so that we can kind of just like, we don't even think of it as a plot hole. It's not even a plot hole anymore. It's just there's perfection in this book, nothing wrong. It's not even a plot hole that bothered me. It was literally last night because I was up well past after finishing this, just thinking about this book. And then I was like, oh wait, I just clocked on to that. And I think it was because I was feeling so many emotions and I was so like captivated by everything that was happening, and everything was happening so fast that I didn't really capture that until I sat down to really digest. But yeah, that is the tiniest of plot holes that kind of popped out at me. But yeah, 6-star, god tier book. This is being re-released in November, which means book 2 will not be released until 2027 at the latest. I don't know why the release for book 1 is pushed so back. I wonder if she's rewriting a lot of it. I hope not. Apart from that tiny plot hole, this is pure perfection and I would rewrite none of it. I will be buying the republished version and any special edition that ever comes out of this book. Yeah, so amazing first start. I don't know how any book is going to top it or be on the same level as it, but it's time to pick our second bookish prompt. I have a few books that I'm eyeing up that I want to read, but I don't know, we'll see what this gives me. Okay, next book prompt is randomly pick a shelf and then pick a book from that shelf. Okay, how the hell am I going to do that? How I'm going to do this is I'm just going to point to a shelf. This is not going to be random because I know where every shelf is. Okay. What did it say? Pick a shelf and then pick a book from that shelf. I have a book back here that I've been meaning to read, and Fairy Loop just announced a special edition for this book and it's stunning, and I was like, I'm only going to buy the special editions if I like the first book. So the second book in this bookish, the second book picked from bookish prompt is Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley. I've heard amazing things about this. I don't know how I feel about this. From what I've heard, I don't know if this is going to be something that screams out to me, but like I said, I've heard people absolutely rave about this. This is a trilogy with the third book being released at some point this year, I think. I guess we'll see how this goes. I don't know how any book is going to compare to what I just read, but the next book is Servant of Earth, and I will let you know how I'm going when I'm some way through this. I'm going to be so totally honest. Last you saw me, I was picking out the second bookish prompt for this reading vlog, and I picked out Servant of Earth. I got a couple pages in, and to be honest, I have not picked up, and it's been a while, so I think I've been in a pretty weird reading space for the last couple of days. Well, actually for the last like week and a half, and I think it's because I've been reading a lot and maybe I needed a little break, but I'm back and I'm really been enjoying the last 2 books I've been reading, but I have no drive whatsoever to pick up this book. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I think I've had this pitched to me as ACOTAR adjacent, and you know that if you love ACOTAR you're gonna love this. I don't know what it is about that, but it just makes me not want to read it. And I think it's because while I liked ACOTAR and it's good, I haven't read ACOTAR in a couple years, to be quite honest. I don't love it as much as everyone else does. I love A Court of Silver Flames. Throne of Glass is one of my top series of all time, but yeah, I just can't get past that everyone pitches this as like, if you love ACOTAR you should read this, and it's just, I don't think I'm gonna like it, or I don't know, I'm not in the mood for it. So I'm gonna temporarily DNF. I'm not gonna permanently DNF because I don't want to read this to compare it to ACOTAR, or because people have pitched it as like ACOTAR adjacent or whatever. So I'm gonna repick the bookish prompt and I'm gonna read this another day, some point in the future, just not right now. So we're gonna repick, and hopefully it'll be a book that I really want to read, because to be honest, this reading vlog should have already gone out, but it hasn't because I've been in just a really weird reading space and not wanting to read that book. So the bookish prompt is a book released this year. Was The Poisoned Daughter released this year? Because if it was, I'm gonna read that, and I have my copy coming. It's a dark romantasy standalone, and I bought my copy because she is going to be traditionally published, and the indie edition of this book is absolutely stunning. No, it was released in October 2025, so not this year. I'm wondering if I should be a little bit sneaky and read Reclaimed. This is book 2 in the Shadow Beast Shifters. I read Rejected a couple days ago and I read it in one sitting. Like, I was up till 4 a.m. reading that book. It was so good. I rated it 3.5. It wasn't like amazing, but I had so much fun with it and I was just completely entrenched in it. So I have book 2. Now, this book originally published in like 2021, but this edition published in 2026. And book 3 is republishing in a couple weeks. So this may be a bit cheeky and a bit like cheating, but I really want to read this. So we're going to read Reclaimed by Jamin Eve. This is a werewolf fantasy romance. So we're following a rejected... So probably should start from the beginning. So we're following an FMC. She is a werewolf. She has been living in a pack her entire life. And up until like the age of 8 or 10, her life was pretty great. But then her dad challenged the alpha and lost and died. And ever since then, she has been rejected by her pack mates, treated really badly, bullied by them. So on the winter solstice, she meets her werewolf and runs into her mate, who happens to be the alpha's son. Now, weird things happen when she meets her mate. She has some mysterious powers. She doesn't want to be mated to him because he's bullied her pretty much her entire life, and he doesn't want to be mated to her because he thinks she's weak and wants to be with another female. So they reject each other. The formal rejection doesn't happen, but when it does happen, she kind of loses her mind, and the Shadow Beast comes to claim her, not in a good way, and he wants to find out how she was able to do what she was. He wants to find out why she was able to do what she did, and he comes to take her away, and things don't go very well for her, which sucks because she's been bullied her entire life. I kind of thought things would look up from here, but it was still really juicy. And so she's living in this like alternate dimension with him, trying to figure out her power and trying to help him sort things out. And it's really juicy. This is supposed to be really spicy. Nothing super spicy happens in book 1, but I think book 2, a lot of spicy stuff will happen. I think that's just what I'm in the mood for. I think I've been in the mood for something that's just going to be really fun, really easy to read, really spicy, that I can just binge and like reality TV, just really have a lot of fun with. And I think that's why I haven't been reading in a couple of days, because that's all I've wanted. And since I've read Rejected, I flew through that in one sitting. So hopefully we'll do the same with Reclaimed. I don't know how I'm going to read book 3, because to be honest, I feel like I'm going to really, really want to read book 3, but it's not out yet in this edition. Kind of really wish I had a Kindle, to be quite honest, because I could read it on a Kindle. I'm really tempted to buy a Kindle. I'm like, should I buy a Kindle? I mean, at this point, I'm like out of space on my shelves and can't really be buying books willy-nilly. So I think a Kindle would be a good way to read a lot of books. I'll still be buying trophies and I'll still be pre-ordering books that I think are going to be like 5-star, 4 stars. But I think Kindle's going to be really good for books like this and some other reads. I don't know. I'm tempted. I'm really, really tempted. But anyway, I'm going to dive into this tonight and hopefully it's a lot of fun. I will let you know when I'm some part through this and how it's going. 196 pages in, and it's like I said, I'm finishing this tonight and I'm figuring out a way to read book 3, because I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep until I read book 3. There is so much happening and I just have to know, and I'm like kind of scared for the romance in here because I don't know. There are certain things happening and I don't know what that means, but like it's like they finally got together, and I'm just yeah, absolutely flying through this. It's currently 10 o'clock. I have not had dinner and I'm not going to, because I just cannot stop reading. I'm supposed to be tomorrow's gonna be hard because I'm supposed to be waking up early and going to the gym, but I'm not sleeping until I read books 2 and 3. It's simply not happening. bad feeling about this. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm really not. I'm wondering. I knew it. I knew it. Okay, I'm 26 pages into Reclaimed, and I think I know why this book isn't a 5 stars, and I don't know how I didn't figure out when I was reading book 1. I think it's because it was 4 a.m. But the fluidity at which things happen is off. Like, how do I make that make sense? Does that make sense? I feel like it makes sense. But I just feel like moments that happen within this book feels to be too easy, to, like, it feels off. It doesn't feel like it, the way it's happening, it doesn't feel real. And I know I'm reading a book, so nothing's real, but it doesn't feel like believable. And it didn't click until I read book 1, and she was recounting the things that that had happened, and I was like, the timing at which things happened just felt too convenient. And I think that's what the problem is with this book. Things were conveniently happening and it didn't feel believable, and it kind of just, yeah, that's pretty much why it was in the 5 stars. So much shit is going down. It's actually insane. I'm flabbergasted, to say the least. 300 pages in. Yeah, what? I'm so hooked. It's holy crap. I mean, did they really not see that coming? I saw that coming. There were so many hints. How did they not see it? No one questioned it, really. I bet you wish you knew what I was talking about, but you just have to read this book to understand. I'm finished. Not the plot twist I was expecting, and not the cliffhanger I was expecting. Felt like it took a weird turn out of nowhere, and it didn't really need to end that way. Like, I felt like the ending that I had in my head of what it was going to potentially be is better than what it was, and I was just a bit like, oh, this is the plot twist. This is where we're going. Okay. Yeah, 3 stars. Like I said, I'm literally reading these books for the pure enjoyment of it and just the romance and smart. I'm not really expecting the best writing or it to be like, you know, outstanding. Still having a lot of fun. You know, if the plot twists don't hit, I'm not expecting them to be quite honest. I do want to read book 3, but book 3 doesn't come out for another couple weeks, and I don't really want to wait. So I think I'm going to find a way to read it on my phone. It must be on Kindle Unlimited. But anyway, I'm going to read book 3. I'm going to read book 3 in my bed. It's not going to... I don't think I'm going to include it into this reading vlog because I don't think I'm going to have too much feeling about it like I did with this one. I feel like as the more I got on, the more I was like feeling deadened towards just the story in general. So I will pick up tomorrow and I'll pick up my final book for this reading vlog from a bookish prompt, and we'll see how it goes from here. I am really freaking tired. I'm really struggling, and it's 11:30. It's way later than I thought I'd be starting this, but I really want to read. So we are going to pick our last final book prompt for this reading vlog, and I'm going to pick a book to read because yesterday I had a lot of fun. It wasn't a 5-star read, so I'm kind of still hunting for a 5-star, but it was still really fun. Okay, so our next bookish prompt is a book with an even number of pages. That's so random. Okay, I'm gonna pick a couple books and see if they have an even number of pages. Let's see how that goes. Okay, I have 2 books. We are gonna check if there are even or odd pages. I don't know how to do this without utterly spoiling the ending for myself, but we are gonna try. Okay, so The Dark Night of the Souls is 558, which is an even number. But let's check When Gods Fall, which is the one I really, really want to read, without utterly spoiling myself. Acknowledgements afterwards. 559. 589, idiot. 589 is an odd number. So I guess the next book I'm reading is The Dark Night of the Souls, which is also on my April TBR, so that's perfect. I'm going to dive in and I will give an update when I am somewhat through this. The pages in this is really weird, but it's kind of like, it's like really, I don't know how to explain it. I'm just obsessed with that. Oh my god. Okay, I'm going to dive into this and I will update you when I'm somewhat through this. All right, I'm looking a little rough. It's been a Sunday, like a truly lazy Sunday, but I'm here for an update on The Dark Night of the Souls. I am 207 pages in and I'm really, really loving this. This is such a surprise because I've never read from this author before. This is her debut novel, and I'm always a bit cautious going into debut novels because, you know, they're still learning their craft. I'm not expecting like a masterfully written story. And while this does have its kinks, the world, the imagination that went into this is just so entrancing. I can't help but fall into this. And my boyfriend kept interrupting me while I was reading this, and I was just like, please stop talking to me because I don't want to come out of this book. You're living in a world where 3 empires reign. Technically 2, because one of them doesn't really exist in the timeline that we're in. So you're living in a world where 3 major empires are alive and competing. You have the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, and the now non-existent Egyptian Empire, and you're following several characters. So we obviously have our main FMC, but we also are following the male love interest, a daughter of a goddess, and then her love interest, and then also this granddaughter or daughter of 2 gods. I'm sure we'll be introduced to more POVs, which is just one of the kinks of this book. I don't think we need this many POVs. I think we could at least be... I think that the goddess, the daughter of the goddess FMC, the daughter of the goddess POV we could keep with only the occasional POV. Then obviously the main FMC's POV would be the most dominant, the most prominent, and then we would go without the male POVs, because I think that those ones would be best introduced into the second book. I also think that the healer, granddaughter of 2 gods POV might also could do without, but I'm not really sure because I feel like the reason we have a POV will become clearer later, so I don't know. But it does feel like too many POVs for the first book, which I'm also just... I don't really like when we have a lot of POVs in the first book, because we're being introduced to this world, to this magic system. We've got a lot to like get acquainted with, to become familiar with and to imagine. And then when you throw in that many POVs, it just kind of takes you out of the story, takes you out of the world building, because you're like trying to find your footing again. So it's a little bit difficult with that aspect, but I'm still really enjoying myself. Kind of want to see if I can finish this tonight, but we'll see. There's a lot to concentrate on, so it does make for a bit of a slower read. We just had our "who did this to you" moment, and I knew it was coming because, I mean, she had been whipped to an inch of her life as a slave. But that scene, I love him. Yeah, do you know what? If he continues, he might just be one of my top book boyfriends. This may be too many POVs, but I can't get enough. I can't get enough of every page, and even the POVs that don't feel relevant and don't feel necessary, I do think they could be cut out. I'm still eating up every single line. Like, nothing about this is boring to me or makes me pull out of reading. Like, I cannot get enough. Okay, my camera just died, so I'm filming on my phone. But yeah, I'm torn on what I'm gonna rate this. I will probably give out my rating tomorrow once I slept on it, but I'm shocked. I'm in awe of this book and the plot that just had me in its claws and trying to put all the pieces, like, if you want a really well done, intense plot that broadens within every chapter, an FMC who goes through so much trauma that is done really well and not just brushed off, and you really get to be there through her journey and get to know her, and she develops really well, but still not like 2 chapters in and she's just like this fully functional normal human being after everything she went through. No, like, I think even in book 2 she's going to go through a lot of development. The romance isn't easy, you know, there's obviously this fire between them and they're very viscerally aware of their connection and why they're drawn to not why they're drawn to each other, but how drawn they are to each other. But it's not like, oh, they're drawn to each other and they're immediately coupled up. No, they still have their journey and things they go through, and I think we'd still see more of that in book 2. But the world, I'm obsessed with the world that she has crafted. I have officially finished the final book in this reading vlog. I am so surprised at how well this reading vlog has gotten, apart from one little hiccup of me not wanting to pick up Seven of Earth. I have discovered a lot of amazing reads in this reading vlog. I've discovered a new 6-star god tier book that I'm still not completely over, and that kind of had me on the border of a reading slump. And then I read Reclaimed, which was a really fun, good time, and The Dark Night of the Souls, which absolutely blew me away, and I'm shocked at how much I love this. Was it perfect? No, but I had so much fun reading this. I was on the edge of my seat. I was living for every page, and I'm so glad I picked this up. All the mythology is living within one world, and the way she set everything up was so immersive and well done. I loved this world. I loved these characters. I loved all the side characters that really shined. They really had the stage. You were really getting to know them. Do I think it was too many POVs? Yes, I do. I still stand by the fact that I think this could do with a lot less POVs, and I think it could just stick with like 2 or 3 max POVs to really set up the story, to really set up the world and the magic and the plot and everything like that, and then introduce the further characters' POVs in the next book to really extend the plot and show us why they're so important. But I still had so much fun with this. I definitely will be picking up the further books in the series. I will be keeping an eye on this author because I think she writes so beautifully and so vividly that I'm really excited for the direction of the books and for any future works she comes up with. That wraps up this reading vlog. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope that some of these books may be added to your radar, potentially for pre-order, if you know what I mean. I'm really, really excited for the further books that's coming out this year, and I think the top 10 reads is going to be very, very close at the end of this year. I'm not looking forward to doing that. please like, comment, and subscribe. You can find me on all socials as Lauriereadz. I am definitely more active on my TikTok than anything else, but I will see you in the next one. Bye.